Hello, in this video we're going to look at permissions, basically is what we're going to look at here. And what we're going to look at is just the setting permissions on folders and best practice basically based on this article that you're already looking at. And the thing is that don't do the habit of user-based permissions, because if you have people coming and going and you have a new system admin and then the system admin leaves, you have to edit the permissions each and every single time. So the easiest way to do it, if your entire organization's folder structure can be the same throughout, even if it isn't throughout, you can change it specifically on a folder. So what we would do is change permissions on the root level, which isn't even on these folders because these are root level folders, but we want to go to the actual uh, root level, which would be edit folders navigation. So these are the specific folders here. Think of this as your C drive, and these are the folders within your C drive, but there's the actual root here by going to this edit icon here. So we always want to change permissions right here. So we never want to see this. PI support and training I have as the uh, administrator, as the read, add, change, delete permissions. We have this in here to deny. I recommend never ever doing that. Just don't give somebody read permissions, they won't be able to see the thing. Don't give them add permissions, they won't be able to add. So I'm going to remove that because that's what I'm going to do for that video. And then the best practice really is, if somebody specifically should have that full permissions, it's usually the administrators group. So you can always change here. So it always defaults to company, but if you're ever curious, because in the case here, I was deleting user, and if you did have to set a user, you can select a user just from this drop down like this. But it's best usually by company or by group. So usually, yep, I want the whole Metafuse company because that's my um, primary company here on this example site. But here for my group, I want to go here and probably do the all system administrators group, because this is a default one that's created by the system that allows you to, if you select this one, as soon as you make somebody system administrator, they belong to that group. Because typically when we give those kind of permissions to someone to be a system administrator, well, they can go in and change permissions to anything. So typically they're okay, you're okay with them being able to have read, add, edit, delete permissions. Okay, so I can click add here, and this is what I want to do. So now instead of just one user being there and that user leaves, or in the cases I've seen, sometimes there's 2 or 3 specific users, and then one user's been gone for like a year, and new admins get added to replace that user, and they don't have all the full permissions out of the box because it wasn't set up as a group. All right, so if I apply this here and hit save, this will push down to all other items that are inheriting from parent. So that's the other thing really to take out this video, which I'm going to show next. So let's go to random folder here. Let's say my training video folder. So this next level, so we did like I said, here's how we get to the root level as well. You see there's that breadcrumb trail. When you see that chevron symbol there, this is the root level, so I can edit it right from there. But what I went to is the training video folder. And what I want to do is go here to edit folders once again for this one and view the permissions. So see, in this case, it did not pick up what I changed because I wanted something specifically different in this training video folder. So it's as simple as, if I do want it to inherit from what I just did, because somebody has happened to have gone in here and messed with this and that's not what I want, I select this. Okay, I say okay. You can see now grayed out, it inherits the stuff that I put there on the C drive. Now I can optionally delete all this extra stuff I did because I already have an old system administrators group. I don't need an administrators group. I can remove that. Have a contractors group. Perhaps for the training video folder, there's a separate group that just for this folder, I want them to be able to see things. So that's why they have read permissions. So I'm going to leave that. Once again, here's that bad example of doing a specific user. If I want them to have read, add, edit, delete permissions, maybe I should make them a system administrator. Or if there's a secondary group that should have these permissions on different folders, it's better to create a group. Okay, so I can call this my Star Wars group because it's Han Solo, but you get the idea. In this case, though, I want to remove him because he shouldn't even have that permissions. And here we have a system administrator user that's one of my dummy users as well that does belong to this group here. So that's redundant to have them there twice. But does it harm it in any kind of way? No, it just clutters the view. So, all right, so I just remove that. And I already have Metafuse company, so I can remove that as well. So if I really want to, I could do this, but I would just uncheck here since I have something different here, because then every single time I I change the root level folder, it's going to wipe out the contractors for me because I'm telling it to inherit from the parent. So it's just one of those things. If we do have one thing that's different, click that to inherit as much as you want, and then the subtle change that you do want, which is like the contractors group, you do it in this manner, and then you can go ahead and hit save. Okay, so this is in the scenario that you wouldn't have to worry about this by default. It always will inherit from the parent. So this will now push down to all these other projects and stuff like that. So if you want different permissions, you're getting into that kind of nitty gritty, then you do have to go into the, now, say my files folder, I wanted to be different permissions, I could do that. So I can go even to my subfolders and say, no, don't inherit from parent, and make whatever changes I need to. Add another group. The documents group should have full permissions to this. It's that kind of thing. So the example where I had somebody else that should have delete permission. Well, this is their whole purpose is to do work with our documents. So that's why we want to make sure they have full capabilities, but only on this folder. I hit save. So now everything else in this in this folder will inherit from the parent as long as that wasn't unchecked. In the case you're not sure and you didn't mean to do that in the beginning, there is a setting here that will automatically wipe out if somebody had this unchecked on a subfolder. You can just force it for sure by saying force permission settings listed above on all children recursively, and you hit save. It's a one-time checkbox. Next time I go into it, I'm not going to see it checked because it applies at that one time that you hit the save. But in this case, I'm going to hit cancel because I don't want to do that. But that makes sure you do clean up if you have someone, a system admin before who wasn't sure what, you know, all the permissions, how they worked, that they went in and unchecked the inherit from parent. Okay, so once again, you can do that from even the root level folder and do that and make sure that just that resets all the permissions to match what the root level folder has. But in the scenarios like I'm doing here where the training video folder needs to be different, then you go into that specific folder. Then, so actually the best thing would have been in this case was to do this originally. Edit folders navigation, edit here, permissions, force this permissions on all children recursively. So otherwise I'm going to go into each root level folder and see what permissions I set there. So I hit save. Okay, so my permission has been reset on all folders in the system. Then we just go into that training video folder, which is the exception. Edit folder, redo what I just did. So say reset it. I find my group. I think I called them contractors. Add. They should have at least read permissions. Hit save. Because everything's inheriting from parent. Now any subfolder will inherit these permissions. So that's what I want to do. Hit save, and then we'll go to that files one just to do a different permissions there. Here it is. So you're going to see it's inheriting what I just put there. There's the contractors, but now this one, we uncheck this once again because we're going to do one more change, which is add the group for the document group to have full permissions. Okay, so I only go in and change what I needed to. All right, so thank you for your time and have a great day.